I'm Tom Huang. I'm a filmmaker of a web series called Unusual Targets. Right now it's online at unusualtargets.com.
All right, and tell me about the series. What inspired you to create it?
Um, I've made a couple of independent feature films. I've written sitcoms for network television, actually. So a lot of stuff I do as a filmmaker and as a writer has been a lot of character stuff and kind of like dramedies and funny kind of stuff. But I'm also a big fan of comic books and like, Game of Thrones and fantasy and sci-fi and that kind of stuff. I wrote a dramatic pilot called Unusual Targets about a hitman that specializes in supernatural beings. And it was in development for a while, got kicked around. And after a while, I decided, well, why not? Let's just make this. I want to do something different as a filmmaker and as a writer. So we decided to shoot it, and we actually originally shot in 3D, the original episode, since we decided to put on the web, we decided to really make it stylized and really try to follow the look of the old 1940s monster movies, with Lon Chaney and Boris Karloff and all that. So we shot in black and white with like kind of a film noir kind of look. And I think also being on the web gave us the freedom to do something different with the main character. And so we decided to go Asian American with the main character partially because we thought it was something interesting, different. We wanted to show something, show Asian Americans in a different kind of role. But partially too because of the long history of legends of monsters and ghosts and Chinese history that actually works very well with the character and his history.
Tell us about the cast.
The cast. It stars Teddy Chen Culver, who's a great actor, friend of mine. He played a lot of like small roles for me in a lot of my films. The last one being "Why Am I Doing This?" And so when we put this together and was trying to find someone to play the role, my producer and also one of the other actresses, Joyce Liu, suggested Teddy, and he's just like the perfect leading man. He's a good-looking guy. He's athletic, which is required for the part, and he's very charismatic. It seemed like a perfect fit, and he was really into it. So we cast him for the lead role. The rest of the cast has been auditioned, other than Joyce, who plays his sister. There's J.C. Doughton, who plays one of his love interests, who's also now on tour with Jersey Boys. And then we also wanted to make sure we had a diverse cast, not just Asian and white. And so we casted this great actress, Elise Cantu, to play Jamie, who's someone that helps him along and figure out what to do, how to fight the monsters and things like that.
And now, is this all shot here in LA?
Yeah, it's all set in LA. A lot of it's set in downtown LA. All shot in LA. We shot originally with some Panasonic cameras because we originally shot the pilot in 3D, and then moved on to use Canon DSLRs. It was just a lot easier. Once we decided to not do it in 3D, we went with since we're doing it for the web, but with DSLRs, and I really like the look.
And now, is this all self-financed, or how are you funding your project?
It was originally the original pilot was financed by a company who was looking into it as a 3D pilot, but then the 3D market kind of shut down, so they just reverted the footage back to us, which is great. So we were able to make about 4 webisodes from the initial pilot that we shot in 3D. And make it 2D, and it still looked great. So we were really happy with the look of it. And then the last 3 episodes we financed ourselves to finish the season. So we had a season to show everybody and hopefully raise some money to shoot a second season.
Are you trying to bring it out to one of the bigger content services out there like Netflix or any of these Hulu or anything?
Yeah, that's our next step. We'd love to have that. The idea is, especially with the web series, started from scratch. Our idea was just to try to kind of build a following first, to show people that there are people interested in watching this kind of content, watching a black and white stylized comic book web series that stars an Asian American. I think that we wanted for the first season to show what we can do. And now that we have this whole season, the season won't end for another 2 or 3 weeks. We're on episode 6 right now. So if you go to www.unusualtargets.com, you can catch up on it. So once the season ends, we'll look at our options for the second season and start contacting people to see if they're, show them what we have and see if it's something people will be interested in showing on a different venue.
Okay, great. And coming from a TV writer background, what do you think of Fresh Off the Boat, which is premiered?
Fresh Off the Boat, I think it's great. I think, especially for the Asian American community, it's been a long time coming as far as having a TV show that stars Asian Americans, essentially surrounded around Asian Americans. And a long time ago with All American Girl was a little unfortunate. Part of the writing wasn't probably the greatest. Some great actors in it, of course, Margaret Cho and Clyde Kasatsu and other people like that. But that's what happens. I mean, not every sitcom is going to be successful, Asian American or not. I think this show has a stronger writing background, definitely a really interesting background story that isn't, just kind of a stereotypical Chinese family or Asian American family, and a great cast. I don't know Randall Park personally, but all my friends do, and I've been following his career, and just a really funny, talented actor to help run this, and the kid, Hudson, I guess his name is, really funny. And the guy who wrote the book, Eddie Huang, such a personality, and such a really demonstrates the best of America, taking a Chinese American family infused with 90s hip hop that he grew up on, and creates a really, to me, a real American person. Someone that's has immigrant background, but also has embraced the American culture, as well as mix it with his own Chinese culture. So yeah, I think it's great. I think it's very funny. I know there's a controversy of Eddie thinking that, or feeling that maybe the show has been a little whitewashed. But I have to say that with network sitcoms nowadays, even white families are whitewashed. It's a network sitcom. There's certain limitations with it. I think that I think it's a really good start, and wish the best for the show.
Do you think that'll give or open doors for more Asian or Asian American themed shows on the air, on the network?
Absolutely. If the show is successful, I think it definitely shows, helps show studio executives that, even though you could kind of understand what their business thinking is about, is like, oh, Asian Americans only represent a very small demographic of America. Why should we try to make a network show that just centers around them? And I think a show like this will show that, hey, you can make, it doesn't matter what the ethnicity of the family is. If it's funny, if it's interesting, especially an Asian American family has another take on the American family, people will watch it. And if it's funny, people will watch it. And I think if the show succeeds, it'll hopefully just show, open up more doors for shows centered around Asian Americans or any minority, and not be so worried about the look of the main character, but the actual content of the show and what a different ethnicity main character can bring to a show that's different than, say, a white main character.
Great. Anything else you want to add about your web series?
I guess I could just tell you a little bit what the web series is about. The show is about this guy, Lee Lin, who is trying to get into the family business. And it just so happens the family business is being a hitman for that specializes in supernatural beings like vampires and werewolves and things like that. And his father was always a supernatural hitman, but was tragically killed when he was young. So as he grows up, this is his way of kind of reconnecting with his dad that he never got to know. So the show has a lot of like comic book aspects. There's action, there's fighting, there's kissing, there's good-looking men and women. There's monsters. We have a lot of like really made-up monsters that we're really trying to get into. But essentially, the show is really about a guy trying to reconnect with his dead father, and that's the kind of human element of the character and of the show that we hope to, you know, also bring people in to show that it's more than just like a comic book like flashy show that it's about a human being who's, you know, trying to connect with his father while fighting all these monsters and things like that.
Now, is it a period setting, or is it modern day but with a period look to it?
It's a modern day with a period look. So we try to take Los Angeles and downtown Los Angeles and put all the kind of old 40s film noir and monster movie styles on it. So it's a lot of shadows, a lot of high key lighting, and you know, things like they used to do in the monster movies back then, show like action with shadows on the walls, you know, kind of a lockdown camera. But the style is definitely trying to evoke that feeling of the old 40s films, but in the modern day setting of Los Angeles, which it also kind of evoke like an old film noir. You know, there's like there's like a narration by the main character, like, you know, so I came down and this chick is, you know, I don't know what she's doing to me, and all this kind of narration before that they do in old film noir films to kind of evoke that feeling. But you know, essentially, it's interesting because a lot of the architecture of LA, especially downtown LA, still is the same architecture that were from those old 40s film noir films. So it's you know, if we, as long as we keep, you know, introducing the old downtown LA kind of like buildings as a backdrop, I think it helps that kind of look and evoke that feeling.
Great. Now, is this something that you always found interesting and it was fun for you? That's why you picked this particular genre?
Yes, absolutely. Both, just like I said, like comic books and monster movies has always been like, ever since I was a kid, was a big thing for me. And also just film noir films, like black and white film. Those two mixed together. It's really fun to try to create this kind of stylized look. So in addition to just writing it and doing something that's kind of like more about like, you know, superheroes and that kind of thing, as a filmmaker, being able to shoot in black and white, I don't know if you saw Nebraska, that really inspired me to go black and white because I just loved the way that film looked and the way it felt. And also as a big fan of film noir films, I thought, hey, this is a good chance to do something fun and you know, put up there for people to see, in addition to doing something different than what I usually do.
Great. What else do we want to talk about? Anything else you want to talk about in relation to it?
No.
Costumes? Do you
Yeah.
do period costumes as well?
Not so much period costumes, but we have. If you see the initial episode, which I'll give to you, so you could like, you know, put online if you want. I just, you know, we have a werewolf in the initial episode, and I was very adamant about making sure it was an old school werewolf. I don't know if you watch like Twilight and all these other like True Blood, like the werewolves now have these big snouts, they look like big dogs, and I was always just in love with the old style Lon Chaney werewolf that looks like kind of a man, like a hairy man kind of thing. So I found a makeup artist who was willing to work with indie films and very talented, and we took a guy and we you know, got latex, all the professional stuff, and made him into a old school werewolf. And so yeah, that's the thing. The kind of things that I was trying to evoke too is just use the old school kind of look of monsters and put them in. Later on, we'll have like a kind of a old school like kind of witch too that we made up that you'll see at the very last episode, and that's been a lot of fun. But yeah, that's one part that I was really excited about and very specific about trying to make the look for was the monster.
This is the information.
It's
on,
no,
man.
I work.
It's not even
No,
close.
please. I don't have anywhere else to turn. Okay, I can't work.
Fine.
Okay. Thank you.
So finally, my first job. Sure, it's kind of a dirty job, but in some ways, it's justice, I guess. I hear these jobs don't always pay well or come very often. But when I get one, I feel like I have a purpose. And that's good. It can be dangerous, but as long as you're careful, you'll be fine. You'll be fine because you know him, but he doesn't know you. That's what my dad always said. But you have to be prepared. So you start with plan A.
How can I help you?
My name is Vladimir. I run family business. For past few weeks, my men have been unusually attacked. And these attacks are very rare even for my line of business.
Hey, you okay?
Yeah, thanks.
Okay. I'm glad you're all right.
Wait. Oh, wait! I, kind of owe you.
No,
No, do you want a drink?
No, that's not necessary.
Well, I think I can spring for your $2 ginger ale.
That's generous. How about you buy me a fat burger next week?
Oh. Chivalrous and aggressive. Okay, sure. I mean, you earned it. Plus, I'm impressed how handy you are with those beer bottles.
I normally train with imported, but domestic will do in a pinch.
Nice. Come on.